By the time I realized the knife was already in my back, I was the one holding the handle. I didn't just lose my savings. I lost the only person who actually tried to save me. They say trust is earned, but for me and Leo, it was inherited. We grew up in the same neighborhood in Queens, shared a desk in middle school, and stood as best men at each other's weddings. But 3 years ago, a woman I barely knew sat me down in a coffee shop on Lex Avenue and told me to run. She told me Leo was hollow. She told me the person I loved most was a predator in a designer suit. I didn't listen. I walked out on her, thinking I was protecting a brotherhood. I didn't realize I was walking into a cage. Leo was always the golden boy. While I was grinding out a steady, boring career in middle management at a tech firm in Austin, Leo was making moves. He lived in a glass-box penthouse in Manhattan and talked about venture capital and leverage. When he came to me with the opportunity, I didn't see a red flag. I saw a life raft. It's a ground floor play, Mike. He told me over expensive scotch. Biotech, private equity. We take your home equity, my connections, and in 18 months, we're not just comfortable, we're untouchable. He was my best friend. He knew my daughter's middle name. He knew my father's last words. Why would I doubt him? That's when I met Elena. She was a former assistant at his firm who reached out to me on LinkedIn under a burner account. We met in that coffee shop. She was shaking. She told me Leo's firm was a shell. She told me he was using my credit profile to guarantee loans for a series of failing offshore accounts. He's not investing your money, Mike, she whispered. He's using your life as collateral for his debt. If you don't pull out now, he's going to erase you. I was furious, not at Leo, but at her. I thought she was a disgruntled employee trying to ruin a successful man. I told her to stay away from my family. I went back to Leo and told him some crazy girl was spreading rumors. He laughed, poured me another drink, and thanked me for my loyalty. He even gave me a bonus, a check for $50,000, supposedly from early dividends. That check was the beginning of the end. For the next 6 months, I felt like a king. The dividends kept coming. I paid off my car. I took my wife to Hawaii. Leo and I were closer than ever. I felt bad for Elena. I thought about how miserable she must be, trying to tear down a bond she couldn't understand. I felt safe. I felt successful. I felt like the smartest guy in the room. The silence started on a Tuesday morning. I tried to log into my brokerage account. Access denied. I called Leo, straight to voicemail. I called his office. The number was disconnected. I drove to his penthouse. The doorman told me the unit had been vacated 48 hours prior. It had been a rental all along. I went to the bank. That's when the floor gave way. My dividends hadn't been profits. They were small portions of the massive, high-interest predatory loans Leo had taken out in my name. He hadn't just stolen my savings. He had systematically hollowed out my identity. The $50,000 he gave me, that was the bait to keep me quiet while he forged my signature on a cross-collateralization agreement. By cashing that check, I had legally verified our business partnership, making me 100% liable for the $14 million in debt he had racked up before fleeing to a country with no extradition treaty. I sat in my car in the rain, staring at a picture of us from high school. I realized then that the loyalty I was so proud of was just the blindfold he used to lead me to the ledge. I tried to find Elena. I wanted to apologize. I wanted to tell her she was right, but she had disappeared too, probably for her own safety. Now, I spend my days in depositions and my nights in a rented room I can barely afford. I'm 50 years old and I'm starting over with nothing but a mountain of debt and a ghost for a best friend. People ask me how I didn't see it, how I could be so blind. The truth is, betrayal never comes from your enemies. Can't. It only comes from the people you'd take a bullet for. And usually, they're the ones pulling the trigger. Some mistakes don't look like mistakes at first.